These stories don't just help you sleep. They remind you what's still out there in the dark. Now, get comfortable and listen closely. This happened just last night. We have a rental property about an hour from where my wife and I live. It's empty right now, waiting for new tenants. Around 10 p.m., my wife got a notification on her phone. Motion detected from the basement camera. She asked me to drive over just to check it out. I didn't want to, but I said yes. The drive was quiet. Forest-lined roads, mist curling around the headlights. I pulled up around 11:30. The house looked exactly how it should. Dark, empty, locked, except one light was on. The basement. Already on edge, I walked the perimeter. Every window, every door, shut tight. My wife called again. Another notification. This time, from one of the upstairs bedrooms. She asked if I was inside yet. I told her I was just unlocking the door. I lied. I hadn't gone in. Not yet. I stood on the porch, staring at the dark shape of our front door and trying to shake the feeling that something was off. Finally, I stepped inside. I called out, "Hello, anyone here? I've called the police." No response. I checked the main floor. Nothing. Then I headed down to the basement. And that's when I saw it. The cord for the single hanging bulb was swinging back and forth, slowly, as if someone had just pulled it. But I was alone. I stepped forward, grabbed the cord. The moment the light clicked off, something banged upstairs. A single, sharp slam. I bolted up the stairs, heart hammering, ready to run. I made it to the front door, flung it open, and just as I stepped outside, I heard a voice from the basement, a quiet, almost pleading whisper. "I don't like the dark. Please stay." I didn't go back inside. Not that night. I sat in my car, parked at the edge of the driveway, watching the house. And as I stared at that dark shape, the basement light turned back on. I didn't call the police. I didn't tell my wife the truth. I just drove home. I barely slept. The next morning, everything seemed normal. No movement on the camera, no new alerts, but something had changed in me. It wasn't fear, not exactly. It was the sense that I hadn't been alone. That whatever had whispered from that basement hadn't just wanted to be heard. It wanted me to stay. A few nights later, something else happened. I was alone again, this time in my own house. My wife was staying overnight with her sister. It was close to midnight when I went down to the basement. Not for anything in particular, just to grab a box of old cables. The basement here is simple. One room, one overhead bulb. No shadows, no corners. But halfway down the steps, I stopped. There was something wrong with the light. It was humming loudly, too loud, and it wasn't steady. It was flickering, like it was fighting something. Then it happened. Something stepped between me and the bulb. I don't know how else to describe it. The light didn't go out. It just folded, bent around a shape. The shape of a person. They didn't move. They didn't speak. But I saw them. A silhouette, human-shaped, standing in my basement. So still that for a moment I thought maybe it was a trick of my eyes. Then the shape turned its head. And even though there were no eyes to meet, I swear it was looking straight at me. I backed up the stairs without taking my eyes off it. And just before I closed the basement door, it whispered. Not a word, not a voice, just a sound, like breathing before we begin. If you haven't heard part 1 and 2, go back. The shadows make more sense in order. Now, let's continue. 2 days passed. I tried to pretend nothing had happened. That the thing in the basement, in both basements, had been a trick of light or a dream. I forgot I was dreaming. But that whisper, that breath in the dark, it clung to me. I kept thinking, what if it didn't want to hurt me? What if it just didn't want to be alone? That as, when I remembered something my wife mentioned months ago, something I had completely forgotten about. When we moved into this house, the landlord said there was a second door in the basement, one that led to an old storage room sealed off during a renovation years ago. We never saw it. We never used it. But now, I wanted to find it. That night, I waited until my wife was asleep. Then I went back down. No noises, no flickering lights, just a soft creak underfoot as I stepped onto the concrete. I brought a flashlight, the good kind, and I started knocking gently on the walls, listening for hollow spots. Eventually, I found it, hidden behind a flimsy panel of drywall, a door, old, metal, peeling paint. But what made my stomach knot was the lock. It was on my side. Why would you lock a door from the outside unless you were trying to keep something in? I should have left it alone. I didn't. I went upstairs, found a flathead screwdriver, and came back down. The lock was old, brittle. It popped after a little pressure. And that's when I noticed the air. Colder, heavier, like I had opened a window into winter. I turned the knob. It moved. And when I pushed the door open, there was nothing inside. Just a concrete room. No windows. No furniture. But at the far end, nailed into the wall, was a wooden frame, square, covered in dust. Some kind of art piece or symbol. A pattern that didn't quite make sense, like it was unfinished, and above that, painted in red, but faded with time, were 4 words. Don't let IT out. Welcome back. If you're still here, you've already opened the door. Now, it's too late to close it. Let's go deeper. The words on the wall, don't let it out, burned in the beam of my flashlight. The air in that hidden room was wrong. Not cold like a basement should be, but still pressurized, like it had been sealed for a long, long time. I stepped inside. Dust floated in thick sheets through the beam of light, and that strange wooden artwork on the wall. It wasn't just decorative. Up close, I saw that the shapes had been carved in, circles overlapping, a square at the center, symbols I didn't recognize. But the deeper I looked, the more they looked like eyes. I turned around to leave, but the door, it wasn't open anymore. It hadn't closed, but it felt further away, like I had stepped farther in than I thought. And then I heard it, a soft, dragging sound. From behind the wall, I froze. No footsteps, no voice, just that sound like something heavy shifting against stone. I backed out slowly, didn't look behind me, didn't breathe. I got the door closed. I didn't lock it. I couldn't find the strength in my hands to do anything but run. I didn't tell my wife. I tried to sleep, but all night I kept dreaming about the art on the wall. The way those carved shapes seemed to watch me. And in the dream, I heard someone say, "It's not locked anymore." I jolted awake, heart racing. I went downstairs just to make sure, and found the basement door cracked open. The inner door, the one I found, was wide open. And just inside, on the concrete floor, were wet footprints leading out. Still with me. Good, because the last part of the story isn't about what I saw in the basement. It's about what followed me upstairs. After seeing those wet footprints, I tried to rationalize. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe it was just condensation. But my socks were dry, and the floor around the prints wasn't wet. Just those prints, clear, human, barefoot. I shut the door. I locked it twice, but that night. At 3:12 a.m., my bedroom door creaked open. I sleep with it closed. Always have. I sat up. No lights. No sounds. Just the sense that I wasn't alone anymore. The next day, I tried to open the storage door again. This time, it wouldn't budge. The same door I had opened so easily before was now completely stuck. Almost like something on the other side had closed it. I called a contractor friend to come look. He tried to nothing. We even took the hinges off. Still, it held fast, like it was part of the wall itself now. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, lights flicker in our house randomly. We hear whispers near the vents. And 2 nights ago, my wife woke up crying. She said she had a dream that someone was whispering at the foot of our bed. You shouldn't have opened it. Last night, I went down to check again. The door was gone. Just blank wall, smooth, seamless, like it had never been there at all. Before you sleep tonight, ask yourself, what happens when you open a door and the thing behind it doesn't want to stay hidden? If you made it this far, thank you. If you enjoy these stories that creep in slow, whispers in the dark that stay with you after the lights go out, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Just Before Sleep. These stories don't just help you rest. They remind you what's still out there, waiting Good night.